Hi, today I am going to be showing the next tutorial. And in this one, I'm going to show you guys how to change the colors on a photograph to make the colors that you want. In this case, I'm going to be showing how to take a photo that starts off like this with kind of a yellowish green pear and create a different color pear and a different color piece of fabric that it's on. So I've got three examples. One is yellow and violet. I've got orange and blue, and I've got red with a green background. And then this is how the photograph is starting off. I'm going to start from here and create all three of those adjustments. So I'm in GIMP. I've opened up the photo that I want to use. Notice that I'm choosing a photo that has colors on it to start with. It's going to be easier to adjust the colors if I have some that are already there to work with. But I am choosing a photo where the colors are more similar to each other on the color wheel, and I'm trying to stretch those colors in different directions to create the look that I'm trying to create. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show is how to make it a yellow pear with a purple piece of fabric in the background. The pear itself is already fairly yellow, so this one is easier to do. I'm going to go to one of my color tools here. I'll pick the Hue-Saturation, which gives me this pop-up. And then in the Hue-Saturation itself, I can change all of the colors. If I want to use hue up here, right now it's on this button, master. That means change all of the colors. And then if I click on one of these, it means just change the red colors or just change the yellow colors. So if I just leave it on master and I drag the hue, it will change everything in the picture. Okay, so here's some examples of what it will do. Okay, so in order for this to be yellow and purple, I want my pear to be a bit yellow. But if I drag everything, it's also going to change this color in the back. So for this one, I don't want the both of the colors to change yet. So I'm going to reset that and go back to here. The pear, the yellow and green parts of the pear, I can change that a little bit and make them, well, I want it yellow, right? So I'm going to change the green parts of the pear and make those green areas a bit more towards yellow. You'll notice how it's changing right here. And this is not changing a lot because the pear is already fairly yellow. So I am just changing it a little bit. Okay, next, the background fabric is going to turn into a purple. It's already blue. That means it's pretty close to purple already. I'm going to grab this blue color and change the hue on the blue. And if you end up going the wrong direction on this at first, don't worry, you can just reverse, like go one way or go the other way and see if you can get it to be more purple. See how it's starting to look more purple? The cyan is another one that's very close to the blue. And it can help if I grab that and make that purple as well. Aha, okay. So here I've got it looking pretty yellow and purple. If I like how it looks, I click OK, and it will change it to that. If you're saving a photo, remember, go to File, Export As, and you can export it to a .jpg or a .png file. But I am not going to save it like this. I'm going to undo that. Bing, we go back to what the beginning was, and now I'm going to show you a couple more. I'm going to show how to make it into red and green. I'm going to turn the pear into a green pear and have the background as red. That's a bit trickier because this blue color I found it doesn't really like to get into the red hues, but we'll work on it and get it there, and then we'll turn the pear green. So I go back to colors, going to Hue-Saturation again. Okay, this time I'm going to drag the whole the master hue so that my pear turns a bit more green, because my background is going to have to change quite a bit too. Woohoo, it is green. You can check on the split preview and see how much it has changed. Okay, notice that when I do that, this goes a little bit more towards purple too, which is the direction I want it to go because I wanted it to be red. So that's why when I use hue to change the whole thing, it is helpful in this case. And now I want that background to turn red. This was a little bit harder to do, but see how it's more bluish, kind of purple. I'm going to grab these. You can see the color changes up here. Let's see, go more red. And dragging this one too towards red. And then it still ends up looking fairly purple. But I have another thing that I'm going to do to fix that. So see this? It's like I put so much red here. How come it still looks purple, huh? And just for good measure, a little extra saturation. You don't have to do that in order for it to work though. Okay, that makes that green pop out more. Okay, so I'm partway there. I'm going to click OK. So far, I've got a green pear. The background is like, oh, it's still purple looking. I'm going to go back to colors and use a different color tool, color balance. Okay, on the color balance tool, I can adjust colors in a different way. I can adjust the highlights. Right, that'll just change the light areas. Or I can change just the, notice I'm going towards red, right? Because I'm trying to get more red in there. I can change just the midtones. Ooh. Or I can change just the shadow areas. Okay, in this case, it's more the shadow areas that I want to turn red, not as much the highlights. So I'm going to put a lot more red into the shadow. Let's put a little into the midtone. Oop, not too much. It's getting rid of my green, some of my green. And then maybe in my highlights, I can just green it up a little bit more. Make sure that stays green. Check my split preview and you can see what it was looking like, how it's kind of more purpley. And then it's still a bit purplish, but it's a lot more red in this version. So I click OK and I've got it. This one took 2 color tools in order to get there because it's more different than, so changing the blue into a red was a little bit trickier while still keeping this green color. Now I'm going to go back to the original again, right? Back to this one. We're going to show orange and blue. So I want my pear to look orange and this to be blue. This is already blue. So I can try to keep that color, but change the pear to orange. I'm going to go back to Hue-Saturation. Okay, and then I'm not moving the whole thing. I'm just trying to move the pear again. So my yellow colors need to look more, oop, that's purple. Orange, aha, yellow has turned to orange. I can change my green to an orange. That can help out a little bit too, I think. Now, the funny thing is I noticed that when I do this, see this area on the pear, it's the brown part of the pear, it looks green. What? Okay, it got a little funny. But I noticed that if I took my red and let's see. Oh, see, that makes it really green, huh? Okay, I got to go the other way. Okay, if I just adjusted my red a little bit and turned it more magenta looking, then that green on the pear disappeared. But if you want your pear to be rotten, you could always leave it like that, huh? So you get some interesting color effects that way. So I keep this as blue. Now, if I want the color of the blue to be more saturated, I can just punch it up with some extra saturation in there so that I've got more contrast on my colors. I think that orange could use a little bit more saturation. There we go. Now, let's see the original versus what it's going to turn into. Very big difference on the pear. The background stays close to the same because we wanted it to stay blue. I click OK, and there it goes. So now you know how to create complementary color photos by using the Hue-Saturation tool and the color balance tool in GIMP. And you also know how to change just some colors. And here are my 3 examples.